Hello, investors, and welcome back. Let's talk about MULN. That's right, Mullen Automotive, because it took off today. It went about 51% gain today. There were a lot of gainers in the market today, but we talked about this one last week. I wanted to make sure you got in low. A lot of you did, and let's get straight into it. Volume today was 252 million, and we'll talk about trading volume because I also want to talk about NASDAQ compliance. Now, the average trading volume has typically been 34 million, and that average is going to continue to tick up as long as this continues to trade with a volume trade of over 100 million. So I really wouldn't pay attention to this average trading volume. You just want to pay attention to the volume trend, and we'll take a look at that in just a moment. Now, today's range was 77 cents all the way to $1.22. That is some volatility, and I want you to pay particular attention to how volatile penny stocks can be. Very important when you're playing this to be mitigating your risk as much as possible, and that's what I'm trying to do in this channel, is make sure you mitigate your risk. So these are not buy or sell recommendations. Be sure to do your own due diligence. But the first article I want to take a look at that came out about 4 hours ago was after mulling over Mullen Automotive. Surely you'll choose to avoid it. So just real quick, I wanted to tell you about this MooMoo March promotion that's offering 6 free stocks, no longer 5. They've upped it to 6, and they're guaranteeing a NEO stock, which is around $18 market price right now. All you have to do is sign up, open a brokerage account via MooMoo. That gets you 1 free stock. Complete the minimum net deposit of $1. That's it, just $1, and you get that NEO exclusive share. You also get another free stock, a random stock, up to $3,500. And once you complete a net deposit of $2,000, completely optional, you can get those other 3 free stocks, each up to $3,500. Find that link in the comments below, and let's get back into the video. I went through this article, read it myself, and of course it's going to talk about the financials. We already knew the financials are terrible because this business hasn't generated any real revenue yet, so that's understandable. But are they spending their money wisely, and are they taking on debt? And that's what you have to pay attention to here. And when are we expecting the next update financially to come from the company? The first thing I did was I took a look at the 10Q. I've looked at this before, but I've said this in a previous video. I wanted to make sure that I did point out this delinquency for the IRS and state tax liabilities as of December 31st, 2021 and September 30th, 2021, about $7-8 million here. And they did take out a loan. They did take on some debt, about $4 or $5 million. But another thing I wanted to look at in here, I'm looking for inventory. They're supposed to be building these vans. I couldn't find any inventory in here. And I also looked as to how they're spending their money, and it looked like they paid about $2.5 million on the development of their website and design. So just be sure to check out those things. Make sure you agree with their financials. I mean, inventory is important. They're supposed to be building these vans. So I went to their balance sheet. I'm looking for inventory. Inventory is not looking good to me. I mean, it should be increasing a little more than this. It looks flat. So it looks like they're just carrying enough for prototypes to me. Now, I could have that wrong, but also their ending cash balance was reflected in that article also. This is in thousands. I went up here and made sure that I put it in K, not millions. That's 360. So an ending cash balance that's not looking good. Of course, we don't need to go to the income statement because they're not generating anything yet. So want to talk about listing, right? So when will we get a NASDAQ compliance? If we do, could it be this month of March? Because last month they were well above. How does this all work with them continuing to be listed or getting a notification that they are not meeting their minimum bid requirement, which I believe you could start seeing some traction of this possibly happening this month if they can't maintain, and it says it right here, if a stock's average closing price over any 30 consecutive trading days falls below $1, it's subject to delisting. And of course, they're going to have time to do this, but this could put further pressure on the stock. So I want you to pay attention to this. And the way you calculate it is you start from March 1st and you take 103, which was the close price, 89 or 98, 89, 79, and 106. Add those together, divide it, and what you get is 95 cents. So right now, they are on track for the end of this month to get NASDAQ non-compliance, just so that you know. So you can keep up with it. This is one that I believe was a momentum trade. You want to take profits off the table. There's so many great companies out there at discounted prices. Plus, I believe this EV market is still in a bubble. I believe there's too many automobile players. They've got to consolidate, and there's only going to be a few number of winners. I believe there's still a lot of hype over EV, so it's still possibly early. But the next thing I wanted to do is just take a look at volume. I like to filter by volume, and right now it's still good. It's still good for penny stocks, and you can see volume as far as sector and industry. It's at the top of the list here. Mullen Automotive. Now, if you go by price, and I could just be looking for stuff, but I try and look for patterns. If you go by price and you look at anything under $2 for the automobile sector, everything was green today. And I don't know if that means that there is a lot of people pushing penny stocks that can manipulate these, but everything under $2 was green. I mean, not enormous high volume on every single one of them, but I just want you to be aware there is manipulation in the market. Let's get straight into the charts and talk about what patterns we had today since the last time we talked. So I've got a couple of green lines in here. I've got some red lines, and typically they would be buy lines or support lines and resistance lines. Right now, in my opinion, I believe that this was a momentum play. If you don't see momentum continue with the volume on this stock, it could start trending back down. Just given the financials, I need to see inventory to have faith in this. But news could come out, good news about the delivery of the vans, but these vans have to carry them a long time for this to be a really legitimate play. I believe we've seen enough momentum, a 50% run up today, to where if you aren't thinking about taking profits at some point and you want to just leave some on the table, that's your own choice. I think it's risky. And in this channel, I just like to mitigate risk. Some of you have a higher risk tolerance. So let's go through the charts. Right here, we've got it on the 30-minute chart. I've got today plugged out. One pattern that you'll notice is on red days, they're the best days to buy. Typically red days, and you'll know when your stock's low because it's trading at a lower price. Now today Friday it went sideways, and I've got this line in here because according to the charts, a good buy would have been at the 77-cent range. If you bought at 77 cents, I think you're looking at your charts and you're doing well. And this thing just decided to go down here to 73 and touch it before it went back up. But look how many opportunities you had to buy this in the 30-minute chart at 77 cents. If you got it, you were in low, you did good. Technical analysis-wise, I think you made a good call. After that, market opened up. This started to run up, and 4 consecutive green candles, right? And then we had that $1 mark from previous resistance right here. It was going to start to test that and come back to find support before it was going to run up again. And you have to go back here to see when your previous resistance was to know that it was going to be able to push past that. Look at all this resistance right here for that first mark. Now, for those of you that stayed in it and were able to capture some of this up here because of this mark, hey, great job to you. If you said that I'm going to wait for it to test this previous resistance that happened back here on the 2nd, that was that 12% run up in that day. This was a 50% run up for you. If you got it at 77 cents, I think you did great, man. You take that, you lock it in. Now pay attention to these RSI indicators, of course. That is something else you can look out for. When it tests this, it typically comes back to try and find support either at this 50 RSI or it's going to dip down here. Now you see it did not, in the 30-minute chart, did not dip down here and break the 30 on the RSI. So if you made it to the end of the video, thank you so much. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. Hit that thumbs up button. Always helps me out, keeps me motivated. And let me know in the comments below, what do you see this one doing this week or even tomorrow? You guys have been calling it pretty well in the comments below. Mitigate your risk, and I'll see you in the next video.